Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. A little bit of an interesting video or kind of funny video today as I got a comment on my previous video and they were surprised that I didn't mention Global Beatles Day. And it was just kind of probably unfortunate timing on my part when I released my latest video because I recorded that video 2 or 3 days before Global Beatles Day. And that was before I even knew record stores were going to have promotional items at the store. And then come to find out, my store that's about an hour away ended up having those promotional items, but I didn't even know about it until the day of and before they were about like a couple hours from closing, and I couldn't make it there. So in a sense, I missed Global Beatles Day, the day of, but I didn't know it was going on. I just the timing didn't quite work out for me putting out a video there in time. So what I ended up doing, I was kind of debating if I wanted to go back the next day and even kind of see if they had any extra stuff because it was just some kind of posters and buttons. I know they had some totes and T-shirts, but knowing me, I was like, I can't really try to pass up free Beatles promotional items, especially when they don't really come around that often. So this is really the first time Global Beatles Day has been like a real big thing. I think it was like the first time it was backed up by Apple themselves. So that was kind of another reason why I wanted to see and go check things out. So the following day, the day after Global's Beatles Day, I went to the store and they had some extra posters and buttons still. They didn't have any of the totes or the T-shirts, and I was a little confused why the totes and T-shirts were revolver themed. Like it's still cool, but I thought it was supposed to be like all you need is love type stuff, type era, not revolver. So that was a little confusing to me. Even though cool, it was just a little questionable, I guess, in the on why they picked revolver. But anyway, my store also put out, of course, Beatles records and Beatles CDs on that day, so that kind of stinks that I got to miss to go through some of that. But luckily, there was still some extra um, CDs and records still floating out there, so I decided to check and see what they had first, and I ended up finding Freeze a Bird maxi CD single, and this is from the UK. So there's the back. And the track listing is Freeze a Bird. I saw her standing there. I believe this is uh, take take one with the 1, 2, 3, 4 counting from take 9. And you got This Boy, which is take 12 and 13. And then Christmas Time is Here Again, kind of with the extra bits at the end. So there is the CD. So at least I picked up something Beatles related. And then I saw that they had plenty of posters. And there was like, just take as many as you want kind of thing. So here's the poster that we got. We got the green version. So here's the front, and then there's the back for some Yellow Submarine, All You Need Is Love kind of era there. So I ended up getting two posters. Maybe one day I'll have some room to frame it front and back kind of thing. And then I also picked up a couple posters for my friend who also wasn't able to make it on Global's Beatles Day. And then last but not least, I did they had plenty of pins for me to complete a set of all the Beatles names. So there's John, there's Ringo, there's George, and then of course here is Paul. And they did have the little button box and a little Beatles display. I tried to ask them what they're going to do with it, or if I could kind of have it, since there was probably only about 20 to 30 more buttons left. And they said we'll probably give it away, or once the box is empty. So I was like, all right, so I probably won't get that, but that's okay. Um, they also told me to take as many as I could for the buttons, so I was like, I could probably just take the whole box with the 30 buttons if I really wanted to, but I wasn't gonna do that. But they also had a Boys of Dungeon Lane promotional, like probably 2 foot by 2 foot square with the Boys of Dungeon Lane logo on it, and then this picture of Paul hanging down from the sign. This one right here. So I might try to see if I can get that as well and ask for it. So that was my Beatles Global Day adventures, even though I kind of did miss it on the actual day. And I'm glad I finally got at least a video out there because it was kind of an interesting. It felt like it kind of happened all uh, pretty quick, I think. And then of course I was hoping for like an actual physical release of some sort, either like uh, a CD single of "All You Need Is Love" or 45, something like that. Would have been pretty cool, but at least the guys at Apple, or the head people at Apple or whatever, are finally trying to do some cool things with the Beatles. So that was cool to see at least. So there you have it. Kind of didn't miss Beatles Global Beatles Day, but it worked out in the end, and I'll stay tuned for if I can get that display or the Paul McCartney display. We'll see what happens with that. So bye.